Good day. So, for this week, we're gonna be talking about Theravada Buddhism. So, we are done discussing the Hinduism. Now, let us proceed with the next one, which is all about the Theravada Buddhism. Now, actually, there are two types or two categories of Buddhism. We have Mahayana Buddhism and the Theravada Buddhism. But at this moment, we'll just focus more on the Theravada Buddhism. So let us have first our learning objectives for this lesson. So at the end of this topic, the students are expected to first state the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. Second one, give examples of situations that demonstrate cravings which may lead to suffering according to Theravada Buddhism. And lastly, explain that the core teaching of Theravada Buddhism is that life is suffering and the way to overcome craving is the Eightfold Path and the middle way. Okay. Alright, so the core teaching of Theravada Buddhism is that life is suffering. So what does it mean? So according to the religion, Theravada Buddhism, they believe that life is full of suffering. So that means life is full of unhappiness, pain, stressful events, like that. So the craving of human beings is the cause of their happiness and suffering. Now, the word craving here is being used not totally on means of taste or means of craving for food, but it is used for something else, just like craving for recognition, craving for success, for money, for wealth. So, by following the way shown by Buddha, human beings can overcome their craving and journey towards enlightenment. Kasi it is the main goal of the Theravada Buddhist to attain enlightenment. Alright, so let us talk on their roots or on how Theravada Buddhism was created. So the founder for Theravada Buddhism is, or the founder of Buddhism is actually Siddhartha Gautama. Now, the founder of Buddhism is Siddhartha Gautama, who is also known as Buddha. So, Siddhartha Gautama, aside from its real name, he is also called as Buddha. Alright, so Siddhartha Gautama was a prince who was born in the 6th century BC in Nepal. So that means Siddhartha is actually from Nepal. So despite the command of his father, which is King Yasodhara, not to leave the kingdom, Siddhartha decided to venture out into the world and experience the reality of man's suffering. At the age of 29, he left his kingdom to lead an ascetic life. So, usa di pasabutan ng ascetic life, ma'am. Now, ascetic life means a kind of life wherein you abstain yourself from normal pleasure, from materialistic comfort or materialistic satisfaction, or from sensual pleasure. Instead, your main focus is to pursue your spiritual growth or spiritual goals. So, ito yung ibig sabihin ng ascetic life. You abstain yourself from makamundong kaligayahan, just like comfortable life, expensive living, and you choose to live in a simple way to pursue your spiritual goal. So Siddhartha was determined to find answer to the universal suffering of man. So Siddhartha's main goal was to unravel how to end the suffering of man. For 6 years, Siddhartha submitted himself to rigorous ascetic practices and engaged in different methods of meditation with various religious teachers. However, he was never fully satisfied. So one day, a young girl offered her a bowl of rice and he accepted it. In that moment, Siddhartha realized that the physical austerities were not the means to achieve liberation. Instead, one must live a balanced life. So that is his idea, or practice the middle way. From then on, Siddhartha encouraged people to follow the path of balance rather than extremism. That night, Siddhartha sat under the Bodhi tree and meditated until dawn. At the age of 35, Siddhartha attained enlightenment and the earning of the title Buddha, or Enlightened One. For the remainder of his 80 years, the Buddha preached the Dharma, which is an effort to help other people to reach enlightenment. Now, the kind of living that was emphasized by Siddhartha Gautama or Buddha is to live a balanced life or practice the middle way. So that means living your life to the extremes or below that middle life is dili na po siya maayo. Like for example, if you really aim for being or to become very rich person like that, so at the end of the day, maybe fortune will grant your wish, and then you're gonna become successful someday or rich someday. But at the end of the day, man and woman can never be fully satisfied. So maabot ka na point na even if you have everything in your life, you cannot really feel the essence of real happiness. And that is why Siddhartha proposes that in order for us to attain or to end our suffering, then we should practice the middle way, or yung katamtama lang, or yung katamtamang pamumuhay. Hindi masyadong mayaman, hindi rin mahirap. So it's only on the average life. Now let's go to the sacred text of the Theravada Buddhism. So the sacred text. So the sacred text of Theravada Buddhists are called the Tripitaka, or 3 baskets. Now the first part of Buddhist scriptures consists of 3 sections. So the first Pitaka class, or the first basket, which denotes the first section, is called the Sutta Pitaka. Now the Sutta Pitaka contains the conventional teaching. So it has sermons, dialogues, poetry, and stories of the Buddha and his enlightened followers. So ano lang siya, basically the Sutta Pitaka contains all those discourses lang about kanang teaching of Buddha, mga sermons niya, mga dialogues with his followers, poetry, mas mga stories po. Now the next one, the second section of the Tripitaka is called Vinaya Pitaka, or the disciplinary code. Now the Vinaya Pitaka, or this disciplinary code, contains the rules for monks and nuns, advice on monastic administration and procedure, and the early history of the monastic order. So, basically, ang content ng Vinaya Pitaka are all about the duties and responsibilities of the monks, yung mga monghe, and nuns, mga madre. And of course, on how to run a certain monastery or kanang religious temple in ana. So the last section is called Abhidhamma Pitaka or moral psychology, which is an attempt to analyze and classify all the constituents that make up the individual person. So this means that Abhidhamma Pitaka are focused on extraordinary details of the basic natural principles that govern the mental, emotional, physical, spiritual processes of human person. So, bali, ang istadihan na ni Abhidhamma Pitaka is all about the components of a human person. Okay, now let us go to the doctrines. Doctrines of the Theravada Buddhism. So, they have doctrines of Four Noble Truths, Eightfold Path, impermanence of things, and non-theistic religion. So, Buddhists adhere to the Four Noble Truths as taught by the Buddha, namely the truth of suffering, which is dukkha, the truth of the cause of suffering, samudaya, the truth of the end of suffering, nirhuda, the truth of the path that frees us from suffering, which is magga. So, i-discuss man nagyapon nato ni siya class on the next slide. So, the Four Noble Truths are the foundation. So, ito daw yung foundation ng nawala na akong cursor. So, these are the foundation of Buddhism and essential teachings for a person who is walking the path to enlightenment. So, always remember that the Four Noble Truths, itong apat na ito, are the foundation of Buddhism and an essential teachings are also for a person who is walking the path to enlightenment. Okay, now the first noble truth, change na ako class ako, naglisod ko ano yung course na navigation. Okay, so the first noble truth is often translated as the life of suffering. I mean, life is suffering. So Buddhists believe that life is temporary and conditional. Suffering in life can be seen in man's physical and mental discomforts associated with birth, growing old, being sick, and death. As we live our daily lives, we also suffer from anxiety or stress of trying to hold on things that are constantly changing. Kasi nga, yun yung basic belief of the Buddhist about life. They believe that life is suffering. We are full of struggles, not only physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, but also struggles within ourselves. So the moment na gipanganak ta class, it doesn't freeze us from, or it doesn't exempt us from suffering. Same also, as we grow older, we settle down, have our own family, tapos we grow older na, and then magkakasakit tayo. So, diba, we can say that life is suffering because things are constantly changing. Now, the second noble truth teaches the cause or ano nga ba yung dahilan ng Tagalog sa suffering, ng paghihirap. Yes, ng paghihirap ng mga tao. So, Second Noble Truth teaches us that the cause of suffering is craving or thirst, or tinatawag itong tanha. Human person continually search for something outside himself or herself, or just like the physical things. Yung mga mahaling bagay, mga branded na sinina, or mga branded na mga shoes, bags, recognition, or yung title. It's like, title holder ka, whether on academics, on sports, on different contest, relationship. So you aim for a perfect relationship in order for us to be happy. Yet, no matter how successful a man or a woman is, he or she is never satisfied. Just like, for example, in this situation, diba? I know most of us, just like we are forced, or just like at an early age, we are encouraged to go to school, to pursue a degree, for us to land a good job, and to, of course, earn a good or earn a high salary. However, in the side of money. So, para sa kwarta, it says that, leave me alone, I cannot buy you happiness. Well, that's actually correct. There are a lot of rich businessmen and businesswomen who have ample or thousands of savings on their bank account, and at the end of the day, they may be happy at some point in their life, but it doesn't guarantee that whether you have a lot of money, then you're gonna be happy forever. So, and craving for something that is outside yourself, just like money or recognition, is actually not a guarantee for us to be happy, because we human is never fully satisfied. We always dream for something. We always aim for improvement, aim for progress, or anything na mabuhat na to para sa atong kagalingon to uplift or to alleviate ourselves, especially sa atong social status. Now, the third noble truth provides hope for human person. Now, diba, on the first noble truth states that life is suffering. The second one states the cause, or the second one states the cause of suffering, which is actually craving or thirst in the form of physical things, recognition, relationship, and etc. Now, the third noble truth provides hope for human person and prescribes an answer to suffering. The Buddha taught that through diligent practice, human persons can end their craving or nirvana. So basically, sa third noble truth class, there na to mahibalaan how to end our suffering, and of course, how to minimize our craving for those material things or those things that are outside of human control. Okay, so here is another doctrines that is being adopted by Theravada Buddhist, which is the eightfold path. According to the Buddha, the eightfold path is the cure. So ito daw yung cure for the illness of the human race. Now let us read the eightfold path. So we have here, let us start here. Know the truth, say nothing to hurt others, practice meditation, control your thoughts, resist evil, free your mind of evil, work for good of others, and respect life. So, they believe in the eightfold path as the cure for the illness of human race. So, by adopting this kind of practices, or by this kind of teachings, then a human person, according to Theravada Buddhist, can end their suffering in life. So, Buddhists believe that the Buddha is like a physician who discovered and prescribes the treatment for man's illness. If human will live accordingly to the eightfold path, the illness of the human race will be cured. Buddhists also believe that more aside from being faithful to the doctrine, especially sa eightfold path, persons should also walk the path of right view. Dapat tama imong panglantaw sa imong kinabuhi, right intention. Dapat tama imong intention. Like, wala kay giapakan na tao para lang makuha nimo ang isa ka butang. Right speech. So you do not hurt others by words, by deeds, and by thoughts. Right action. Right livelihood. So that means ang imong job maghatag sa imuha og dungog, or let's say right livelihood kanago ang imong panginabuhian class is dili siya in an illegal way. Right effort. Nada po yung right effort, no? O dapat tama ang imong pag-effort. Kung naa kay goal, of course, you need to follow the right effort para ma-achieve to nimo, because there is no shorter way to success. There's no shortcut for success. You need to go through the process, and you need to follow, or you need to exert right effort. Right mindfulness. Mindful ka sa imong ginapanghuna-huna about sa imong self, sa imong friends, or sa mga tao sa imong palibot. And then, right concentration. So, dapat right concentration. Kung sa may aim nimo, dapat mo po na siya imong i-concentrate. You need to have right concentration to have vision, or to have that path to follow. Okay? If ikaw, or if na kay goal in life, tapos ang imong concentration is nagaano siya, swayy, so you cannot clearly focus on your goals. And that is the teachings that are also emphasized for Theravada Buddhists, especially if you are walking to the path to enlightenment. Now, aside from the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path, Theravada Buddhist also believes on the impermanence of things. So that means impermanence. So dili permanente ang tanang butang sa kalibutan. Especially ang mga butang na ato ang gina-hold or atong ginalong. So dili na siya class assurance nga once na imuha na siya, imuha og sa imuha dyan na siya sangto, dili na siya nga na, because change is constant. Same also with impermanence. Kini ay at this moment siguro atoa pa ni siya na achievement, or atoa pa ni siya na success, but later on dili na po nga na ang flow sa ato ang life, because things are impermanent. So Buddhists believe that impermanence is an undeniable and inescapable fact of human existence. Yes, that's very true, because humans are not mortal, and we cannot escape impermanence. Thus, nothing belongs to the earth is ever free. So, kana daw tanang butang class nga nasa atong palibot, dili daw na siya free all the time. No human being can control and ever change the process of growing old, of dying, of decay of things that are perishable, and of the passing away of that which is liable to pass. Buddhism, however, suggests that escape from this is possible through nirvana. Well, actually, I agree on these doctrines that impermanence are an inescapable fact of human existence. Because the moment we are conceived, we are born, and then we go to school, then we decide to settle in a romantic relationship, have our own family, build our own family, have children, tapos magiging matanda tayo. Then we all go through the process of life. Magkakasakit tayo, and then those moments of dying, nga na good. So, that is the cycle of life, and we cannot escape that, or dili na to siya pwede i-reverse, because that's the universal very good universal law on the existence of every living things. Dili all the time na ata, dili all the time nga adult lang ta or teenager lang ta, mabot po sa point na mag-settle down ta, build our own family, tapos magkasakit tayo nga na. So, things are impermanent. Especially those things na perishable or liable to pass. Just for example, in this month, you buy a branded shoes or a branded cloth. Then, diba? And then next month, tapos sige na mo siya suot. Next month, maka-notice na ka nga marag nag-fade na yung color, naginayin na siya kabag-o. But next month, up until next year, siguro mahabilin pa na siya nga butang. However, it doesn't stay the same the moment na imo siyang first time siya ni mo ang gipalit. So, same like that. Because things that are liable to pass or things that are perishable, they cannot escape to the impermanence or to the concept of impermanence. However, we can end or we can escape this impermanence of things through nirvana or enlightenment. Alright, so Buddha, Theravada Buddhism class is actually a non-theistic religion. So that means they don't believe in any supreme beings. They don't believe in God. So Buddha taught that man's need to believe in a God is anchored upon his fear and frustration. So according to Buddha, ang mga tao daw, the reason daw nganong moto ang mga tao og it was truly because of his fear, kahadlok niya, and frustration. Now, the Buddha taught his followers that man must understand his fears. So, dapat sabto na niya yung kahadlok, dapat may balaan niya asagika ng iyang kahadlok or iyang kahiubos or frustrations. Lessen his desires, and to calmly and courageously accept the things that he cannot change. Nindot po siya message or nindot po siya content ay. Human must therefore replace this fear not with irrational belief in a God but with irrational understanding of life. Thus, Buddhism is a non-theistic religion. Kasi nga, ang nakagwapong magod sa Theravada or sa Buddhism na teaching class is that they don't rely or they don't blame or they don't anchor your situation in life towards your kanang belief sa Ginoo. Kasi nga, what they truly understand is that is the process of life. So, you need to be open-minded. So, kailangan nimo i-understand imong fears. Dapat po i-lessen nimo imong desire sa mga material things or sa mga or sa tanang butang, you need to lessen your desire para ang imo pong expectation is dili pud nga nakadako, para dili pud ta masakitan at the end. And to accept. So dapat nawato nato mga butang na magbag-o or kanang accept the things nga dili nato kaya jud i-change. That is why Buddhism is an atheistic religion. They don't rely on any supreme beings for the journey of their life. Instead, they try to understand the cycle of life, and they also try to lessen their desires, understand their fears, and accept the things that they cannot change. Another reason also why the Buddha rejects the notion of God is that there is no irrefutable evidence for the existence of a supreme being. Furthermore, Buddhists believe that God is not necessary to attain enlightenment. Based on the Buddha's own experience, each human person has the capacity to purify the mind, develop infinite love and compassion, and perfect understanding. Thus, human persons must shift attention from heavens to the heart and find solutions to life's problem through self-understanding. So, this is what Buddha discovered on his journey towards enlightenment. So, he believes that kita daw mga tao, we have the capacity to purify our mind. So we have the capacity to control our mind to kanang sa lao na to ato na into the right way, develop infinite love and compassion and perfect understanding. So mauna na ang mga tao dapat daw instead na mag-rely sa ilang faith sa judgment sa Ginoo or kung unsa man daw, 'di ba? Usually magud if para sa to Catholic, we tend to believe magud that our faith is determined by our actions, tapos ang atong actions is gina-judge na sa supreme being which is our God Almighty. Now, according to Buddhist, human person must shift from attention from the heavens. So that means dapat for them, Buddhists must not focus on the fate or on the judgment that are governed by heavens. Instead, they should find solutions to their life's problem through self-understanding. That is why class, ang ila dyan gina-emphasize is the journey towards enlightenment, because once you attain enlightenment manggod, maka-understand na ka or fully makasabot na jud ka on the valuable things in life, and nganong niagi ka og certain na situation na yung ato. Margo siya wisdom, di ba? Once you have wisdom, you're gonna be able to understand why you encounter certain difficulties in life, or you're gonna be able to use your knowledge to judge on things because you have that good judgment, you have that insight and experience. So, ganun yung in-emphasize ng Buddha. Now, let us go to the issues that relates to Theravada Buddhism. Right, so we have here religious tensions between Buddhists and Muslims in Myanmar. The controversial claim of the Time magazine regarding Waratho, well, Waratho is actually a monk. He's a monk. Now, it is written here, Time magazine defines Waratho as a Buddhist terrorist. So, usa daw siya ka Buddhist na terorista. That's really a controversial claim coming from Time magazine. which finds inspiration from Buddha himself. The radical Buddhist monk is known for his angry speeches against Muslims and supported the plan of the government to deport the Rohingya Muslims in Burma. Burma is part of Myanmar. I guess it's the capital city. I'm not really sure. So, Marathu even said, "You can be full of kindness and love as Buddhist, but you cannot sleep next to a mad dog," which pertains or which he means this one. So, critics have urged the Myanmar government to enjoin Marathu to pursue instead a meaningful and peaceful conversation on religion, ethnicity, and civil rights. Now, good thing here is that may gani si Myanmar government gitry niya og persuade si Marathu nga instead of saying bad things to the Muslim, so why not consider to have a meaningful and peaceful conversations about their their differences in religion, tapos ethnicity and civil rights, because that's a good thing, my God, instead of kanang ipapahiya mo yung isang grupo ng mga tao based on their religions, or you're trying to discriminate them based on your religion. So that is not really a good thing, or a good practice. So may ganigi try ni Myanmar government si Marathu to pursue a peaceful settlement. Now, Sabina in 2014 in a research paper entitled Interreligious Tension in South and Southeast Asia explains that politically active monks, or yung mga monks daw na naapoy ginahold nga government position, rejected extending religious minority rights to non-Buddhist minorities. So that means kini daw mga politically active monks, just like Marathu, nagtry daw sila gi-reject daw nila ang mga minority rights sa mga religion nga dili belong sa Buddhist, or nga dili belong sa Buddhism. As a result, there is a growing interreligious tension between Buddhist majorities and Muslim minorities, not just in Myanmar, but also in Sri Lanka and Thailand. This poses a challenge to peace and security among Buddhist dominant countries and the wider region. Kasi nga class, yung Sri Lanka, they are dominantly inhabited by Buddhist believer. Tapos meron ding mga minorities na Muslims, or meron ding mga Muslim na mga tao na nakatira doon. Kasi nga yung gusto ng ibang politically active monks was to lessen the civil rights of these Muslim minorities, and that's not really nice to hear, especially if you're a Muslim. That is why it will create tension. Kaya nga merong iba na kaya nga nagkakaroon ng tawag doon, ng war or ng misunderstanding, or nagkakaroon ng tension between Buddhists who lives not just only in Myanmar but also in Sri Lanka and Thailand. Kasi nga Sri Lanka and Thailand is also a diverse country. They are not, majority of the people there are actually Buddhist, but that means meron pa ding mga ibang grupo ng mga tao na iba-iba yung religion. And that's, that creates tension among this Buddhist monk and among these Buddhist-dominated countries and the people there who belong to religious minorities, the Christians, the Muslims, Hindus, like that. So, why not lang ba, no? Kanang consider diversities, accept diversities, be open-minded. And I hope you're gonna be able to realize this soon enough. So thank you so much, class, for listening our discussion about Theravada Buddhism.